What's up, everybody? How you doing? Happy New Year to you, and welcome back to Born to Create. So for the guys who don't know, Born to Create is a simple concept, guys. If who or what you want to be doesn't exist, you go out there and you create the lifestyle that you want. So I am super amped today with my guest. This young man has totally impressed me and made me feel like at 19, you're 19, right? Or 20 yet?
Yeah, 19.
All right, so at 19.
No, 9, yeah.
Okay, at 19 has done amazing things. It made me feel at 19 I wasn't doing shit. So Kasra from San Diego is on the podcast today, and I want him to share his story. He's a excellent, brilliant online marketer, so I want him to share his story about his success, on how he took what he wanted from a concept and created that to manifest in his life. Welcome, Kasra. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Again, thanks for being here. It's a total blessing. So,
Yeah,
right in. So you are 19 years old and you run a very successful e-commerce store. So tell us how you got started in e-commerce. Like how did you at 19 have the idea?
Well, I actually started when I was 17. So I say about, all the time, like I was like, I had like entrepreneurial mindset. That was like so cliche, but I really did. Like when I was 14, 15, I started my first kind of business, and it wasn't really a business at the time. I didn't take it as a business, but it was like a business. So it was basically an esports team. So kind of like, video games, and people were competing and stuff. And it got pretty serious at one point too. I was like 15 and a half, and we had a team under us, and they actually went to like an actual event. So we paid for their flights and stuff. And I was like 15, so I didn't even know what was going on. 15? I was just hyped. I was just hyped to be there. Wow. Yeah, I was just hyped to be there. I was like, hey, it's cool. I don't even care about the money. Like I'm just, I was hyped. So that was like my first little experience with, business. And at that time, again, like I didn't know, like I was just like having fun with my friends and stuff. So at that time, I didn't really care about money. I was just trying to, have fun. And then I'd say like a year and a half later, right when I turned 17, I started to kind of have like not changing like life, but changing my mind. I was like, didn't really like school anymore. I was really trying to not go anymore. And this whole time, like up until now, or up until 17, I was like, always in school. I liked school. I was doing school. And then just something clicked. I don't know what it was, but I just stopped liking it. And then I started asking myself, like, do I want to do this? Like, this isn't even for me. Like, I can't even sit in the class and, without trying to get up and leave to go, or something like that. So at that time, I kind of started to resell stuff. So like clothing, like Supreme, like shoes, Nike shoes, stuff like that. I got into that little community. There's a big, I don't know if you know what Reddit is, but Reddit's like a forum essentially. So I got into that and, started reselling stuff on there. And at that time too, it wasn't even money. It was just fun for me. Like it was just some money that I could go and, eat after school with my friends, or, go buy like the latest Jordans or something like that. That was just money in my pocket. And then I would say, yeah. So about December of 2017 is when I met one of my friends, or reconnected with one of my friends from like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was crazy. Like I didn't see him for 4 or 5 years. And then I see him, 4 or 5 years later, and he has like a really nice car. He's obviously moved out, and I was like, wow, like, what are you doing? And then he was like, he was hesitant to tell me. He was like, well, I do this thing called Amazon FBA. And Amazon FBA is pretty similar to what I do now. Because I do dropshipping. Amazon FBA is pretty much the same thing, except you got to order a bunch of units and stuff like that. But he was doing e-commerce at the time. So I was 17, and this was in November of 2017. So I was like really like new. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know what Amazon. I didn't even know what dropshipping was. But I went home that night and I pretty much sat down on YouTube and I looked up videos about Amazon. I looked up videos about dropshipping. Excuse me. So from there, it was just literally like a month or 2 months. I don't even remember how long it was, but of me just watching videos. So I would go on YouTube, watch as many videos as I can, and just try to learn. And I was like scared to start. I didn't know like how to start. I didn't know. I was really scared. That's what it was. But it just really like got me into watching YouTube videos. And then from there, I decided one day to just start. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to start this right now. I need to start this because I need to do something. I want to do it. And at that time, ironically, it's funny too, I lived with my business partner that I've known for 4 years, and we started that store together, the first dropshipping store. So we started, and this was in December of 2017. It was like a Christmas pillow store. So crazy. We made a crazy amount of money for our first time. Like it was like 10,000. It was insane. I was freaking out. I was like, "What's going on?"
So to tell you real quick, so just to get caught up. So you are 19, and thus far the experience of you in the sports industry, you on selling Supreme on Reddit, you going from dropshipping, you doing FBA, you're talking like someone in their 20s, 30s, even 40s with the experience you've had. Mm-hmm. So you've done this at a very, very young age, right?
Yeah.
Which is totally mind blowing, and it's amazing, like what you're going to accomplish in the future. So most people on this podcast, some do, some don't know what dropshipping is. So before we get into the money aspect of your first store, talk to us about what exactly is dropshipping.
So dropshipping essentially is just getting items. So you say you want these AirPods, right? You want these earphones. What we do with dropshipping is we go to Chinese suppliers, and obviously in China, everything's a lot cheaper. So we're sourcing the items from China and we're selling them on our own custom-made design stores, usually branded design stores. We'll order, this item, and we'll go take videos, pictures, all that sort of stuff. We'll create a really nice website. And from there, we'll sell the item on our store. And then when somebody orders that item, we send it to our suppliers. So say, John Smith orders these earphones for my store. I take John Smith's information he gave me and I send it to my supplier in China, which there he goes and sends it to John Smith. So I'm not touching the product at all. It's not like a traditional e-commerce company where you have to order thousands of units like Amazon. Dropshipping, literally anybody can do it with $500,000. It's pretty easy. And yeah, that's just what it is.
Right. So you hold zero inventory at all. I mean, everything is stored, sold by your suppliers. So, but you are a business that holds no inventory, which is amazing. So yeah, exactly. Talk about the first store. You said it was a pillow store, and you made doing that. So let's talk about that success.
Man, this was in 2017, so it was a different time. Dropshipping back then was really easy. It was not hard at all. You could get the worst pictures, the worst site, and anything would sell. It was just so easy back then. So we're doing Instagram shout outs. So we would pay Instagram pages to post, a post about our item or whatever. They say, oh, go buy. And it would be like a Christmas page or something.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Because it was a Christmas store. So we'd be like, hey, here's $20, post our website link, here's a picture. And then people would just go to our website and buy it. And that was the first store that I ever did with my partner back then. And that really took off for us. We did almost 10,000 in revenue over like a month and a half. But the first lesson I learned there was, the stuff from China takes a long time to get to people. So we had a lot of refunds. And that was like the first, learning experience that I had. Because when I started, I didn't have, a lot of money even if I had a lot of money, I feel like I wouldn't have invested in a course because at that time I wanted to learn everything myself. It was still fun for me.
Yeah.
I was just like trying to figure everything out. I was like, okay, because I was like business savvy kind of, I already had, kind of like a little esports team, a couple little businesses here and there. I had a clothing brand for like a year. I was doing like photography, videography. So I was doing a lot of stuff, up until this point. And I just felt like really I wanted to do this myself.
Yeah.
That was the first store. And that probably ended, obviously in December of 2017. I had a pretty hefty mistake there. We lost a good amount of money, but it was, learning experience, right? So from there, we moved on to pretty much not full scale, but, head on dropshipping. So from there, I was making a new store probably every week, and I was still in my senior year of high school. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I was in my senior year of high school, making a new store every week. And this was probably from January of 2018 to June, August of 2018. So from there, I was just, that whole time, I was just doing as much as I could dropshipping. Like this was the only thing I knew. I lived and breathed dropshipping. I'm pretty sure if you asked like my parents, because I lived with them at that time, you could ask them, my attitude completely switched. Like I was not going outside. I was literally sitting in my room for probably like 12, 14 hours a day if I could. I would school, because at that time I was a senior, so I could pretty much leave whenever I wanted to. I would just go for the first class and I would just leave, go home and work, because I was sitting at school and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I can't work. Like, what is the point of me being here? So, yeah, it was my last semester. So I was just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, anyways, that whole 6-7 months from January, pretty much up until I went to my first semester of college, that whole time was just pure focus work. Once I saw that first success, I saw that there's other people doing this. It's simple. It's not hard. It takes one simple thing, and it's the amount of work I do. Because, and I have a cousin. He's really successful, really wealthy, really successful guy. He's 7, 8 legitimate businesses, making over millions of dollars a month. Yeah, he's amazing. So, and he told me this when I had that esports team when I was like 16, 15. He told me the number one thing that I would give you as advice is, no matter what you do, business, school, whatever it is, as long as you can put in more work than anybody else. So when you're sitting at the desk, you're making a cabinet, whatever your business is, and you want to quit, if you just keep telling yourself, this is where everybody else will quit, so I'm going to keep going, it's not that hard. I mean, look at where we're at now. So
basically be the hardest worker in the room, basically.
It comes down to that, honestly. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. It's not even about dropshipping. It's just a lot of people don't understand that you actually have to put in work to get something. So yeah, I learned that really early on. So
let's talk about that real quick. So let's talk about work ethic, because not many people at honestly, you can be my son, right? At this point.
Yeah.
So and I look at people your age, and the work ethic is not there, even on simple tasks. The mindset that you have as far as work ethic, as far as what you want to do with your life, that's really, I mean, you're in the minority, right? As far as your age.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? How, at such a young age, where'd that mindset come from? Was it your parents? Was it your cousin? I mean, where'd the mindset that, no, F school, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I know that I'm destined for this? Where'd that mindset come from?
Well, I mean, my dad, I think it came from my dad. I know it came from my dad because he has, I mean, he's a civil engineer. He's pretty high ranked at Caltrans, but he has 3 of his own businesses as well. He has multiple rental properties, multiple duplexes. So he's always working on his houses, his rental properties and stuff when he's not, at the office or, hanging out with us when we were kids. So I always saw him, I feel like subconsciously, like I thought like, oh, he's always gone working. So, he's working So when I got to that age, I realized that I want my own stuff. I want my own clothes. I want my own freedom. I want my own life. I have to work for it. And I kind of looked at him. I kind of looked at my cousin. And I was like, damn, like, it's not going to be easy. Like these people are, older than me, 20, 30 years older than me. And they're still working. So I'm like, I got to start now. Like, it's time to go. So yeah, it definitely came from them. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, like the whole family essentially is like business minded. Most of my family is business minded. My whole mom's side, had, a card that their whole family owned like a Pokemon trading card shop. This was in like the 2000s. So like this was when it was popping, and they had it in Kansas, and it's still there. It's like the biggest shop there. But that whole family worked that shop, and we would go there, and I would see that, and I feel like that kind of had an effect on me too, because I was like, okay, like you can work hard and get where you want. And I saw that everywhere. And I think just when I turned 17 and I just wanted my own stuff, and I just sat down and started watching YouTube and being influenced by, I guess, all these people talking about, owning your own life. That's where that came from.
So you didn't sit back and complain and dream and complain, ask yourself why I don't have this, why I don't have that. You said, well, if I want it, I'm gonna go out there and get it, and go out there and create it. So I definitely applaud you for that, because that's far and between. So I met you. We met about 3 or 4 months ago at Kasra's office.
Yeah.
So we met there, and I was impressed because because of your age, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but you made $250,000 on your store in how long?
So let's see. I would say from December to February. So about 3 months, we made about like 350K. So it was December to pretty much the end of February. That was a chunk of time. So that was a chunk of time where, I was really focused at that time, and everything just took off for me at that point. I dropped out of college in February at the end of all that. So it was just a huge time for me.
Right. So, how did you make that much money? I mean, I know it was work, right?
Man. Yeah. Oh no, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's grind, but so the products you sell now, they come from China. Now, how are you finding these products? I mean, how are they coming to you? Because at this point, this on your podcast, people are interested in how you do what you do, right? And then and at the end, we will give you guys a direct connection with Kasra, so you can find him and follow him. But how did you get the products that you get? I mean, how are you able to make 350K in that amount of time?
So it's a couple of things. It's not really even the product, ironically, as you would think it is. So that first big success that I had, it was a product that, and this is the funniest part too. Like I had this product for almost 5 years. Like it was like a gaming item. So I now tell you, I was a gamer. So I had this exact item. And then I think that was just a sign. Like I saw it and I was like, damn, like that's crazy. Like, I saw it later on. I was connecting the dots. But what really separated that success from any other success that I've ever had was the channel that we were advertising on. Or the medium that we were advertising on, the way we were getting traffic to the site. It wasn't Facebook ads. It wasn't Google. It wasn't Instagram. It was YouTube. So YouTube. Now the thing about YouTube is crazy because videos on YouTube never go away. They're always there. Maybe some get like copyright strike, whatever they get, but majority of them were always going to stay there. And if you are advertising on good channels that are consistently getting ranked by YouTube algorithm, so even if one of their videos is bad, all the other videos are still doing good. So they're always going up. You're always getting views, and you're paying a one-time fee for the ad. So pretty much what we were doing, and I can remember this almost off the top of my head, one of the biggest channels that we had, under our contract, or under my contract specifically, was a 5 million, subscriber channel. And they would post each ad every day for about $2,000. So they would post an ad for $2,000, and then I would make almost $8,000 in revenue back. Probably around profit was like $4,000. So it was mainly the channel because nobody actually was advertising on YouTube. Even though that product was saturated, it had almost probably 30, 40,000 orders on AliExpress. There was a lot of people buying that product, fulfilling it. But it was just a different channel to advertise on, like a medium of getting traffic through. So that's what separated that.
This was your YouTube channel?
No, it was not my YouTube channel. So essentially what it was just like a compilation channel. So I went out there, and at this time it was probably like November, October, something like that. One of those 2 months, I don't remember which one specifically. Oh, I think it was October actually. Yeah, it was October. That's funny. So it was October. And then from there, I just started with one channel. So it was like a niche of, kind of like a little sub community. I started with one little channel. And then from there, I started making connections with all the other people with similar channels. And then from there, pretty much in December, I started to contract them. So I started having them sign contracts because I started to see some people trying to take the ad spots because people were starting to catch on. So I was like, hey, look, I'm going to pay you a retainer every month. You sign this contract and we're good.
Gotcha.
So
because that's a new, maybe it's not new, but for most people, they think like Facebook and Instagram, are the ways to market your business, and it is. So with the YouTube thing, I mean, and from what I understand, it's a lot cheaper as well to do ads on YouTube. How did you get connected with these channels? I mean, how did you get them to put your product on their channel?
Oh man, this is a crazy story. I mean, if YouTube, YouTubers don't respond. YouTubers are the hardest people to get a response from. I don't know why. It's just like that whole community just does not respond to emails. So I was in college at this time. It was probably November-ish. It was around Black Friday, Cyber Monday of last year. And I remember specifically the biggest channel that I was trying to get with. I probably emailed this dude 100 times up until now, and I'm in college. I'm in college right now. I think it was an economics class or something like that, and we were taking a final. And I remember I have my phone like on the ground, looking down, and then I look down and I see his email, and I'm like, oh. So I grab the phone, I grab my backpack, and I leave. I'm like, I'm done. I got this dude just. Oh, I left because I'm telling you, this dude had almost 10 million subscribers. Fine. So his post alone would have made me like 20, 30K one time. So and that's the thing, like these people, it took so long to get responses from them. I had to reach out on email, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Like I reached out on 6 different platforms almost every time because I was so persistent. I knew that this would work. I saw the results. I saw the results early on from a couple of the smaller guys, and I was like, this can only make sense. This can only make sense. It works. I need to, put as much time as I can to get in contact with these people. And yeah, it was just, I built like pretty much a little empire for myself back a year ago.
That's what excites me is that you saw a target and you didn't give up. So
definitely not.
99% of people would maybe did 3 emails on one platform. Not did email, not did YouTube, not do Twitter, not reach out. Yeah. You exhausted every single avenue that you could to get this person, and you finally got it. That's the persistence that you need to be success in any aspect of your life, right? And 100%. So that's amazing. Yeah. So your friends now. I know you said that one was from high school. Do you feel that at 19, choosing your friends helped you be successful, helped you be where you are now versus hanging out with a different crowd? Or were you able to like mix in both? How important was that friendship proximity for your success?
Honestly, it's huge in the long run. Because I really didn't stay in my hometown when I was making a lot of money. Like I stayed for the first month or two, and then after that, it was probably January, February of 2019. I pretty much packed everything up and I moved across country to Pennsylvania. And the main reason I did that was because I wanted to go into something, and I heard a lot of people talk about it earlier on. It's called monk mode, where essentially you go into somewhere with no distractions, completely out of the way from where you're from. You don't know nobody. So I went to like the middle of rural Pennsylvania, and I just worked for 3 months, and I made almost $225,000 there. It was a lot of, and that's what I'm saying. Like me moving away from my family, me moving away from where I'm comfortable, my friends, because personally, I know this for a fact. If I would have stayed there with all of that money, I probably would have bought something stupid. I probably would have done dumb stuff. I would have went and spent thousands of dollars unnecessarily. And that's really why I moved. Yeah, it's stuff like that. LA, like all this stuff is over there. So that's why I really didn't want to stay. And I knew that early on that if I stayed, it wasn't even that I couldn't control myself. I just knew that I would get into those crowds.
Yeah.
Because I would just get bored. I would want to go hang out with the people I'm comfortable with, because that's just human nature. You want to go where you're comfortable. But if you put yourself in a situation where you're not comfortable and you actually have to survive, like gun to the head mentality, right, in the middle of nowhere, that is the sort of thing that I was going after. And obviously now, like I don't live where I'm from. I'm like 8-9 hours away, and I live now with almost everybody that I live with now does what I do, right? Yeah. Everybody is doing e-commerce. Everyone is, has their own agency, whatever they're doing. So the motivation is there every day. Like I don't even know where I would be. I couldn't even imagine myself living at home. It wouldn't even make sense at this level. No way.
That's good. That's good. And I think when we met, you told me that, right? So right now I know you're in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
And you guys actually purchased a home in San Diego, right?
Yeah. So we're in Del Mar right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in San Diego.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm sure everybody knows that California is not a by far not a cheap housing market, right? Especially in the San Diego area. How much did you guys pay for your home?
This house is valued at 1.4. Now the neighborhood is really, like, this is top tier neighborhood. Like I didn't even, I didn't make a decision on this. I made a decision like a week or two before,
Right.
but it just felt right. Because, you know, again, like it's just the people around you that matters the most. I can't even stress, even if this was in like a shack, like a really small house, I'll still be around these people because it just motivates me every day to do more. It motivates me beyond comparison of me being at home. Cause, you know, I'll go back home for like a week and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, you know, it doesn't feel right. Like I can't be here.
Yeah.
So that's why I really like this place. It's worth every penny, even though it is a lot more expensive than a lot of other places, especially this neighborhood. But you know, you live once. Like you have to live while you can, and you really have to surround yourself with people who you want to be with and where they want to go. Right? People who want to actually have some ambition. Because if you're really, and this is so true, if you're around people who I don't like saying this like the rat race, but like, you know, like society, like everyone's running around, you know, trying to do the same thing, like going the same processes and the same system. So if you're around that, that's where you're going to go. That's how I feel like. So that's why I like to invest my money into something, you know, a nice house like this, you know, a nice area like this. So
it really depends on who you are, because, you know, I've heard the scenario that if two people are walking down the street, one's ahead and one's behind, eventually one is going to go back or one's going to go forward, because you will adjust to the level of the people next to you. So are you going to stop and walk backwards because someone's behind you, or are you going to let them catch up to you? And it seems like that everybody in your circle, you guys are walking at the exact same pace, so you can help each other and really push each other to your goals. So I mean, at 19 in San Diego at a $1.4 million home is totally amazing.
It's unreal.
But I know at 19, life hasn't always been roses and sunshine, right? I mean, you know, people are watching this right now thinking, oh, you know, he's lucky. It's easy. You know, I can jump into the same thing. I mean, I'm only assuming because of I live life too. You know, I assume that you've had some struggles, right? You've had some things that you had to recover from. Talk to us about that, about you know, about how it feels, how you overcome some of the biggest struggles in your life.
Man, I mean, it really comes down, and I think, you know, earlier on, I feel like I didn't have you know, too much of a struggle because I was so motivated myself. Even though I didn't have a lot of money wasn't really a motivator for me at that point. The motivator for me was just it was the game. It was just to keep going up, to keep doing good, to get out of the system. That was my game. That was my goal back then. So I didn't really feel the struggle until I guess I moved out. Even though I had a bunch of money, like, you know, it was the first time I lived on my own. So I started to realize, like, okay, well, there's no one here for you to hold you up. You have to really, like, know what you're doing with your money, with your grocery, like everything matters. Like you have to calculate everything. So the struggle was there. You know, trying to figure out how to, you know, grow up from something where, you know, I'm living with my parents 18 years of my life and just moving out and doing all this crazy stuff, going on these crazy trips and trying to figure all that stuff out. And then obviously before that too, like I didn't have a lot of money to my name. You know, my parents were, you know, well off. They were doing their, you know, their own things with their own businesses, but they're not the type to, you know, give me $1,000 for my business, right? You know, at that time, no, I was in school, 16, 15, like, you know, they're not just gonna give that to me. So back then it was a real struggle because I really wanted to do stuff, especially with like the gaming team and even the beginning days of dropshipping. I really wanted to do stuff, but I couldn't. And that was simply because I didn't have enough money. And as soon as I realized that you can make money as soon as you sit down with the actual goal every day to make money, that's kind of when my mindset switched and I just started playing the game. I stopped with the money thing. You know, it came naturally. It comes naturally, honestly. You know, once you actually set a goal for yourself, you know, a big goal, and then every day just slowly work up to that goal. It's so simple. Like it could be like you want to buy, I don't know, a car, right? So you have to figure out, when I wake up today or tomorrow, when I wake up tomorrow, how am I going to make money? Like you have to know that the day before. So when you wake up, like you're going to make the money. You're not sitting there trying to figure it out. That's kind of, you know, the way I see it now. But I mean, just, you know, the struggle is, it is real. A lot of people, you know, and me especially in the earlier days, like I felt it, but Man, like nothing comes easy, and that's what it is at the end of the day. Like it doesn't matter now, earlier, later, nothing comes easy. And I already know there's going to be more struggle in the future. Like it definitely will be. But I feel like you can overcome anything as soon as you just sit down and put your mind to it. And clear-headed, always be clear-headed.
Yeah.
A lot of the social media stuff and people around you really can affect you if you're letting it get to you. So.
Yeah, you are definitely an anomaly, brother. You're definitely an anomaly. So, the focus you have is at an amazing level. So, talk to us real quick about your day. Walk us through your day from time you get up, and how does a day in Kasras' life look?
So I mean, the last couple of months, like 3-4 months, kind of changed a little bit. So up until I'd say like probably September, October, it was pretty much wake up, eat some food, go to the gym, and then just work for as long as I could, and then I go to sleep. Now it's a little bit different. I'm taking on more on my plate, so I'm trying to scale my businesses. At the same time, I'm trying to start mentoring people. At the same time, I'm trying to get my agency back up off the ground. To build some more, residual income. And then I'm also trying to do a bunch of other stuff that, is small stuff, but is big in the long term. So in the mornings, usually what I do is I'll wake up, usually around like 6, 7, whatever the time is, for that day, depending on my schedule. And then I usually, almost all the time, I will try to, before I wake up, not touch my phone. So, and I don't know why, I know there's a science behind it, or psychologically or something like that. The blue light hits your eyes, but, I feel like looking at it and just writing stuff down in the morning, like what I have to do on a piece of paper, and, for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, however long it takes, just to get my day started fresh when I'm out of bed, that helps me a lot. And just writing. I feel like a lot of people go on their phones early in the morning, and even if they say they're, oh yeah, I'm writing down what I have to do, like I'm checking Twitter, like, no, like, no, like, you have to write stuff down. So I write my stuff down, whatever I have to do. And usually I'll do it the night before, but sometimes I'll catch up in the morning, like some stuff that I, remember I have to do. But from there, these last 2 months, usually what I'll do in the mornings is I'll actually hop onto a couple of client calls. So I have a marketing agency that I'm running, or I've been running for a couple of years actually, but taking it more seriously now. So I'll hop on, for the first 2-3 hours on some client calls, some meetings essentially for my salespeople. So I'll call, for about 2-3 hours, be about lunchtime, go eat, come back, and that is pretty much when I will focus on my own work. So my own stores, my own personal YouTube channel, my students, pretty much to the end of the night. And that's why I've been doing those pretty much these last 2-3 months. And then obviously like going to the beach when I can. The beach is like a mile from here, so utilizing that. Yeah, I mean, just living, man. I mean, I like working a lot. I don't know. I feel like it's weird. I just like sitting in my room, but I feel like, my days are so structured because I set goals for everything. So I have like my notebook, as I said, in the morning, that I write stuff down, but I have a bunch of apps on my computer, or like 2 or 3 apps that I pretty much only use when I'm working. So I kind of like really spearhead focus myself when I'm working. I don't check my phone at all. Actually, I put on do not disturb almost all the time. My computer's on do not disturb. The only thing I can see is like Slack, and that's just so I can talk to my team and stuff like that. But even that, it's not even, I'm not even be able to reach.
It's crazy that you mentioned that, because we've been talking through text a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your phone's on do not disturb, and we would text. I would text you, and I would respond like hours later, or even the next day.
Yeah. You can ask anybody. That's how I am. And I don't know. Like, I don't like being on my phone. I don't know what it is anymore. Like, it's not even like I know that the phone is just a distraction and I don't need it. I just want to focus on what I'm doing. And, I have, time in the middle of the day, obviously, and stuff like that. But, that's just, I like just being on my own all the time, focus on what I'm doing.
I love it. I definitely love it. I mean, that's what you need to do to get things done. And I mean,
exactly.
I'm just really, really excited to see you, 10 years from now, just to see how far you're coming. You're going to be premier people in this industry. So talk to me about the mentoring now.
Yeah.
You've learned so much, you've done so much. Now you want to help other people achieve the same success you have. So talk to us about the mentoring. Like why are you not mentoring people?
Well, I mean, realistically, I saw a lot of people coming to me because I started posting YouTube videos probably in June or May. I don't even remember when I was posting them, but I was posting videos for fun, right? I wanted to just share my story. My first video was like how I made 10,000 in one day. So that was like my first video. It was really bad. Now I got like a camera, microphone, and stuff like that. So, but that was the first video, and then after that, I saw some traffic come to the channel. I saw people started following me on Instagram. And that's when I started to really take YouTube a little bit more seriously. I started to, post more because I actually liked talking about dropshipping because I felt like at that time that was the one thing that I really knew like a lot about, and I was making a lot of money. So I had a lot of authority, I guess. I could talk a lot. I can explain what I'm doing and help people out, because one thing that sucks about dropshipping is a lot of people in this space are, and I met a lot of these people. I met almost all these bigger dropshippers, and a lot of them, what they do is they have a course or they'll have a program. It's not even about the course, but they'll give you fake information to get you into the course, essentially. So when I was starting, I remember, I had a TV in my living room in my parents' house, and I'd be watching on like the little smart TV, like all these dropshipping videos. And then I remember I'd watch it through and I'd be like, so what did he say? Like, I didn't even understand what he said because they'd be babbling so much. They just wouldn't get to the point because they wanted you to buy the program or, do whatever. So what I started to think was, okay, I get that, you paid, your time, you paid your own money to get to where you're at to get this experience to to teach people, right? I get that. I 100% get that, right? But I didn't like that people were being misleaded. So I wanted to, be able to teach people, not at a murderous rate of 20,000 these people are charging, right? I value my time a lot, and I don't take on everyone to mentor. That's why. I mean, I rigorously vet people before they come in. I talk to them for I think a good 30 minutes, make sure that they're actually motivated to enter this and have my help. But I saw myself in a lot of the people that were coming to me, DMing me, asking questions, and I was like, I was one of these people a year and a half ago. I was asking questions to all these people too, and no one was responding to me. So I found out, I could easily, schedule really, really small slots of time throughout my day and still be able to help people. And the first time that I really sat down and probably mentored someone was probably like early November of last year, obviously in 2019. So, I mean, it's taken off since then. I've had about 30 students. One of them is moved on. He's 16. He's moved on to do $130,000 of profit, since we started in September or October. Wow. So he's 16. He just moved. Changing a life like that, I mean, that kind of like changed my life essentially. I mean, I'm looking at him. I'm like, yo, man, I just taught this kid all this stuff, and he's going to New York now, moving, dropping out of school. He's 16 and he's making 100. I'm like, Jesus, like, that was for me. So the impact is crazy, like what you can really do to change people's lives, and that's just what I like doing now. I like helping people. It's crazy, man. It's crazy changing other people's lives, and that's why I just keep doing it. So,
kid how to make over $100,000 in profit.
Man.
So at this point, what do your parents say about you? I mean, they're definitely super proud. I mean, like, what are your parents like? What are some of the things that they say to you, like when you talk to them?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to them almost every day now. I try to, at least, because I'm rarely there. I'm always moving. I'm here, there, wherever. The holidays are pretty much the only time that I get to see them. So, I mean, they're telling me to, I do, every day. When my mom calls me, she'll tell me like, keep doing what you're doing. She'll swipe up on my my Instagram stories. She'll leave like a little emoji or something. She'll be like, good job, or something like that. So they're really supportive of it. And I think they always were, because I had an issue with them, like kind of like before I started making money. Like obviously, like no parent wants their child at 16, 17 to drop out of high school, right? That doesn't make sense. Like I can understand that, but I felt like once I showed them that I could sustain my own life and do that and live by myself across the country, at 18. So I feel like that point they kind of like switched their minds and kind of like started motivating me essentially, like every day, like texting me, like sending me cool stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, they're super proud. I mean, they're great people. I mean, I couldn't even think of life without them. Like, it's crazy. Like, coming so far. Like, I'm only 19, so that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, 19. You got a long way to go. Long way to go. Cool. So there are people who are watching this and they want to do what you do, and really follow the blueprint. So I would like to ask my guests to give us like 3 tips or 3 power moves that someone can implement right now to actually start their life as a dropshipper or entrepreneur, or someone who's there but they want to get to that next level. Give us like three tips, 3 power moves. I lost you, Kasra.
You hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
All right, cool. So anyways, so dropshipping specific. Dropshipping specific, if you have a dropshipping store right now, maybe you want to even start dropshipping, you have a little bit of knowledge about it. The number one thing that I could tell you is master 2 things: product research and Facebook ads. It's any sort of advertising, and product research. Don't focus on the small stuff like building your website, because in all honesty, like I'm gonna say this right now, a lot of people will, and because the people who will say like, oh no, he's lying, like he's a liar, are the people who sell stores and pre-built stuff like that. So you don't need a nice store, you don't need a nice logo, you don't need any of that stuff. You need to know 2 things, and that's finding products that nobody is selling right now. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I have like a 30-minute video on this. You can literally watch the entire thing. I don't say anything that I wouldn't say to anybody else. So it's free information right there. Tell you step by step. So you want to find stuff that no one's selling. And that's just product research. Understand product research, understand how to, identify stuff that is not being sold by other people, and obviously advertising, because everything else in the dropshipping business model, you can outsource. You can outsource building a store. You obviously are going to outsource customer service. And that's just the stuff, like the small stuff. Don't focus on the small stuff. I wasted almost a year on the small stuff, right? I did all my own customer support. I did all my own, fulfillment. I was literally like, it was crazy. Like, you don't need to focus on that stuff. Yeah. Focus on the bigger fish. And the benefits of focusing on the bigger fish too, like if you become really good at Facebook ads, or even right now there's TikTok, blowing up. If you can become good at one of these platforms, you can outsource that. I'm sorry, not outsource it, but you can sell your services to other businesses as well, not just dropshipping stores, not just e-commerce, right? You can go do lead generation. You can go do, brand growth for like Hollister or something. I don't know. But if you can build an actual skill while still making money on your dropshipping store, that is top tier. That is the best thing you could ever do right now. And yeah, that's dropshipping specific. Kind of, like the third thing I guess is kind of I just went over is your skills. Build those skills. Build skills that you can use to sell. You can sell to other people. You can sell. Right now I could charge somebody $10,000 an hour if I wanted to for Facebook ads. If they had the requirements that our agency requires to go in there and actually bring them back a profit, I would charge them easily $10,000 if it makes sense. And I can break down the exact numbers, why I'm charging you $10,000, how much you're going to make. And that's from my experience. So the experience that I've had through dropshipping, through, YouTube advertising, all this stuff. So that's the third thing, build a skill, preferably a money generating or a revenue generating skill. You're not something like, I guess like website design, it's really, a lot of people doing it. So you want to be able to be an expert at something that not a lot of people are experts at. Again, as I said earlier, TikTok, huge platform, 550 million users in the first year or something like that. So if you guys can figure that out, figure out how to run TikTok ads. I have a video on my YouTube channel as well. Go watch that. You can figure it out.
I keep hearing about TikTok. I keep hearing about how TikTok is, because I thought that it was only for kids, like my daughters are like 14, 15 years old, but it's for everybody.
Oh, no. I mean, it has the amount of users Instagram had at 6 years in 1 year. So it's done. It's over. Like and they just launched their own advertising platform as well. Wow. And man, that's not even it. I mean, there's Facebook Messenger. Like there's so much other stuff that people don't understand yet, like that you can get into right now and actually dominate. Like two things, TikTok and I would say Facebook Messenger bots. Those two things, if you can really become skilled in that, I would hire you, honestly. Like, that's really the game changing in the whole advertising industry. So if you're interested in dropshipping and stuff like that, those are two things I would recommend you focus on, along with obviously product research. So
okay, I love it. You're a wealth of knowledge. All right, so
yeah.
So how do we find you? How do we find Kasra? So tell us where. And you said YouTube is one, right? So
yeah,
where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at KASR_AA. And then on YouTube is just KASRA, or just youtube.com/C/KASRAM. So Kasra M. But pretty much just Kasra on YouTube, and if you type in KASR_AA, my Instagram will pop up. But yeah, those are pretty much the only things that I utilize on the socials.
Okay, perfect. Because you're always working.
Yeah, I don't want an Instagram if I wasn't, if I wasn't able to reach out and actually reach out to other people and help them out and do that sort of thing through Instagram. Honestly, I wouldn't be on Instagram. It's such a distraction, but I try my best. Yeah.
It's super rare because I'm in my 40s, right? And it's super rare that someone that's 19 impressed me, and I'm inspired by it. I'm super inspired by you, brother. I am. Definitely, keep up the amazing work, because you're going to go far as hell. So, in closing, is there anything that you want to say to the audience in closing?
Man. Well, I mean, I guess if you stuck around this long, you probably have some sort of drive in yourself. So I would say the number one thing, to keep in mind throughout your business or throughout your entrepreneurship journey, right? And I'm only like 3-4 years into this. So I just want to talk from where I'm at, right? I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not saying that I've made billions of dollars, but what I've seen so far is that, as I said earlier in the call, the first thing, if you keep the first thing, your work, like everything that you do revolves around your work and optimizing your life and just becoming a beast, essentially becoming a beast, you will always come out on top, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter, because if you can manage your time, because 99% of people can't manage their time correctly. If you can manage your time, you will beat everybody. Everyone sucks at it. I don't care who it is. 99% of people, no matter what age, what race, it doesn't matter. Everyone sucks at managing time. So if you can manage your time and have a clear, focused vision on what you want to do, that's the key to success, man. That's whatever you want to do right now, from what I've seen, right? From my experience myself. Right. So just keep that in mind. Nothing, it's so cliche. Nothing is impossible. It's not, but it comes down to the work, no matter what you're doing. You're a welder, you fix cars, you drop ship, doesn't matter. It comes down to how much work you put in, where you want to be, next month. So that's kind of how I see everything right now. What I've learned so far from everything, but.
So creators, you heard it directly from Kasra herself. So be the hardest worker in the room and learn how to manage your time. You manage your time, you absolutely kill. So, brother, I want to thank you again for
no problem.
Thank you for stopping work to come and be on the podcast. And I'm definitely going to personally go in and dive into your content, because I want to see how you work. I want to see, what you've created thus far. So guys, go check out Kasra's YouTube, check out his Instagram, his Facebook. Just check out his content, period. And I know you'll be blessed. And if he can make a kid at 16, 100K or 100K in profit, he can help you as well, because he's done it for himself. This is not talk. This is not fluff. It's just pure excellence in action, right? So thank you again, brother. And you guys, thank you for watching.
Yeah, man, no problem.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Have an amazing day and keep creating. Bye, guys.
Later, guys.